Liz Beamer.
Hi, how are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Fine, thank you.
Good.
Yay, 7 spirits of God.
Yeah. I was hoping you would be on. I missed you in the last couple days.
Oh. There. No, I had my volume down, and the oddest thing happened. The screw popped out of my glasses today, and so I was like, had my left eye closed because I only had a right lens.
Oh.
So hopefully I'll be able to see well again. So it'll be all good. So how's everybody doing? You know, Rebecca. Boy, that thing, that group she has online, how valuable is that?
It has been awesome already. I was just thinking that. It's been like one day, and it's been so helpful for so many people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shout out to Miss Rebecca.
I know. She's going to have to see this on the recording because she said she couldn't make it, and she wanted to make sure that we posted it.
Where are you tonight?
Oh, I'm in the same place. I just decided I wanted to sit in a more comfortable couch.
Oh, okay.
Since Wednesdays, usually we don't have as many people in the room, I feel like I can do that. So.
Oh, okay. No, I was just like, I can see the background, so it's good. So.
Do you want to say hi to Soren and Linda and Eden?
Hey, Soren, Linda, and Eden. How are y'all?
Okay, wave. There we go. There's a Soren. Oh, he's
Soren, I love your commercials. I love your commercials, Soren. Huh?
I'm still waiting.
Soren, stop. She just gave you a compliment.
I know.
So what do you say?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Not the most gracious, apparently. Okay, here, say hi.
Hola, muchacha.
Hi. How are y'all?
Good.
All right.
Boys.
I see Linda. Who's behind the couch?
That's Eden.
Hey, Eden.
Hi.
How are you?
She said good, but she said it quietly.
Ah, I see.
That's my second child, first daughter.
Okay.
Yes. So, I say we get started, even though it's just us. I feel like we want to honor our time and just begin. So, I know of at least one, maybe two other people who are hopping online at least, so they can just join us when we get rolling.
Yeah.
So
I heard that rumor too. No, people. I was asking people, "Are you going to be there?" And they're like, "Yeah." And I said, "Well, okay, so it's all good, all good."
Well, yes. Well, I just want to apologize for the very bad sound problem we had last week. I didn't realize how horrible it was, and it was very frustrating for everyone online, I take it. So anyway, I just want to apologize, and we will not be posting that video because the sound is so horrible. Okay?
Yeah, no problem. Everybody has, there's always off days. You know, it's like, it'd be nice if we all hit a home run every time.
That is true.
It happens. Stuff happens.
It does. Well, so I was excited about, God told me this earlier, which hardly ever happens to me. That's how I knew we were going to be engaging the 7 spirits of God on Sunday, because he had already showed me about it, and I was very excited because it's just very special to me. I don't think I really understood anything about the 7 spirits of God before engaging in heaven. Basically, it always caught my attention in the Bible, but I didn't really understand it. I just thought, what is this? Is this something that is, different than the Trinity? And I was confused about that. And so I feel like since God has really opened up my eyes with this, we should all talk about it. But there are a couple scriptures that quite a few scriptures that mention the seven spirits of God. And so first I want to head to Revelation, which is where most people know about it. So I'm going to read just 4 different verses that mention the seven spirits of God. And then we'll talk about the different things that the seven spirits represent. So I know usually I don't do a big Bible study or anything, so we're not going to look through all of what every word means and do all that. But I did want to do this because I think it's an important part of understanding how and why we interact with the seven spirits. So Revelation 1:4 says, John to the 7 churches which are in Asia, grace be unto you and peace from him which is and which was and which is to come, and from the 7 spirits which are before his throne. So that is our first clue, that if we want to engage the 7 spirits of God, probably the first place that we should go is the throne room. Revelation 3:1 says, And unto the angel of the church in Sardis write, These things saith he that hath the 7 spirits of God and the 7 stars. I know thy works, that thou hast a name, and thou livest and art dead. Revelation 4:5 says, And out of the throne proceeded lightnings and thunderings and voices, and there were 7 lamps of fire burning before the throne, which are the 7 spirits of God. Revelation 5:6 says, And I beheld, and lo, in the midst of the throne and the 4 beasts, and in the midst of the elders stood a lamb as it had been slain, having 7 horns and 7 eyes, which are the 7 spirits of God sent forth into all the earth. So that's kind of where those are originating from. And then there are 2 different scriptures in the Bible that kind of talk about what each one of the 7 spirits represent. Okay, so, or maybe what the spirits are, I should say. So the first one is in Isaiah, and it is Isaiah 11:2-3. And it says, The Spirit of the Lord shall rest upon him, the Spirit of wisdom and understanding, the Spirit of counsel and might, the Spirit of knowledge and the fear of the Lord, and he will delight in the fear of the Lord. And so you see wisdom, understanding, counsel, might, knowledge, fear of the Lord. I think I'm missing one. Oh, Spirit of the Lord too. And so anyway, that's where those are. And then also, if you go to Romans 12, verses 6-8, many people believe that the 7 spirits of God are related to the 7 graces, that it's like the grace gifts, if you know what I'm talking about, found in Romans 12. So these are first prophecy, then service, then teaching, then encouragement, then giving, then leadership, and then mercy. And so anyway, I'm going to pull up a chart that I think is super awesome. Linda, do you have the chart? This one that's from Freedom Trust.
With the colors.
Uh-huh.
I do.
Okay. I'm going to pull up this chart and I'll share it with you on Zoom. I think this chart has been super helpful. So let's see. Can you see this okay?
Oh, absolutely. And you posted this somewhere else too. I've seen this.
Yes, I posted
Did you post it? Yeah.
on the page because we were talking about it the other day. I don't remember, maybe a week or 2 ago. But this has been really helpful to me. First of all, I don't know if this happens to any of you, but there are times when I'll see different colors, and sometimes they'll manifest in the spirit realm here on earth, like on the in the kingdom of earth. And then other times I will see them as I'm engaging in heaven. And the colors, that's very helpful to me because it every time coincides with what God is doing with me in the heavenly places, or what's happening when I'm learning or something like that. So I specifically have been really interacting a lot with the blue and the indigo. Hi, Robert. Welcome.
Hi. Thank you.
So can you see, Robert, can you see the chart up here?
Yeah.
Okay, great. I just talked about all of the scriptures that pertain to it. So I will probably post the scriptures as well. We went into Revelation, into Romans chapter 12, and into Isaiah chapter 11, I believe. But anyway, it's basically everything that is biblical background of this stuff. So I have been really encouraged when I look at what I'm going through and how these colors start coming around. And I was just saying that sometimes they manifest in the spirit realm on the earth, and other times I see them as I'm engaging in heaven. And so a lot of people, especially those who don't see very well in their imagination, they see a lot of colors and stuff. And a lot of times these colors are basically God giving them understanding of some sort. And so each color means a different thing. If you see all the colors together, then all the seven spirits are engaging with you. And oftentimes in the spirit realm on earth, I see all of the colors of the rainbow. Like it's like it sometimes even confuses me at first, especially because I thought it was an angel, just because it was all the colors like that. And then I realized it was the seven spirits trying to interact with me, and I didn't understand that. So anyway, that's helpful sometimes. My kids oftentimes see this rainbow in the sky at night and stuff. And so, okay, Soren says pretty much all the time. But anyway, so this would be the seven spirits of God. And so anyway, we can go through these, but one of the things that I wonder if you'll be able to see this. Can you guys see this?
Yes.
Okay. You see here where it says prophet, servant, teacher, exhorter, giver, ruler, mercy. It shows which one lines up with which. And so a lot of times if you're functioning as prophet, for instance, you'll see red at this time, which is the Spirit of the Lord. And you'll just see different ones. So for me, I am oftentimes seeing blue and indigo. And so it shouldn't be a surprise when my main gifting is giver. And then I also have a lot of ruler in me. Okay, so I see those a lot. Then I see other ones at different times, right? But these are the ones that interact with me the most. So it also makes sense if you look. I'm going to go back to, there we go. So blue and indigo. So this one is the Spirit of Mite, which is the one I'm a giver. So I interact with this the most. And if you guys know me, you'll probably go, oh, this makes sense. The Spirit of Mite, it reveals this position and teaches us about the supernatural realm of God and how to exercise dominion on earth and in the spirit realm. It teaches us about the power and dominion of God, about the council chamber of war and how to war in the heavenlies. And it teaches us how we are seated in the heavenlies with Christ, about our seats of government and kingship, and how to do the works of God. And so if you know me very well, you know that that's like right up my alley. That's a lot of the stuff that I deal with all the time. And so that is helpful that I have the Spirit of Might always ministering to me, because I need these things apparently. And so you'll see they're basically all of this, their whole purpose is to glorify and magnify the Father. And so when we interact with the seven spirits of God, this does not mean we're interacting with God himself, but they're attributes of God. So they manifest outside of just. So I want to be clear about that. It's not like Father, Son, and Holy Spirit kind of thing. It is, they're separate beings, basically. So anyway, you can look at these different ones. Linda, I know that you have interacted a lot with the seven spirits of God. What's your experience with that? Like, that I know you see them a lot. What's common for you? And then we can kind of look at what the colors are and stuff.
It tends to vary. Probably the one that I see the most is indigo. But different days with different colors and different combinations of colors. I know that when you take in more revelation, it's just like I just know things that I don't really know how I know. I just know, and there's a lot of no's, but it just comes upon you, and it just helps you to understand more, have more knowledge, just more revelation.
Well, so like she's always interacting with the spirit of knowledge, basically, who teaches us how to access the knowledge of God and how to apply it to us and around us. The rules of what to do with what we know, how to access the library rooms of heaven. Have you had any experience with that?
I have not. One thing I don't see a lot in heaven, or at least I haven't thus far, but then again, that kind of varies too. No, and I can't wait to do that. So it's coming.
Yes. Well, I like that it says the spirit of knowledge teaches us how to meditate and receive insight and revelation and vision. So I'll let you know that this chart comes from Freedom Trust, which is Mike Parsons, his online stuff. And so anyway, he has a lot of really helpful information, and I have tested all of this. I'll just tell you that I don't release anything that God hasn't first shown me, but I also don't reinvent the wheel. And so God has really, since the very first of me engaging in God, I have been interacting with the seven spirits of God. I didn't understand at first what was happening, but he gave me this menorah in the heavenlies. It was the very first thing he ever gave me. I thought it was going to be like a sword or something, something like that would be useful. I didn't know that a menorah was very useful, but he gave me this menorah, and I'm like, what the heck do I do with this menorah? And he told me that it represented the seven spirits of God, and I'm supposed to light people in the heavenlies. I'm supposed to light them up with the seven spirits of God, and they will receive that, and basically, whether they know it or not, they're going to be interacting with seven spirits of God. And so it has been really awesome and helpful. Oh, good, you found it, huh? Hey, can you give me that cord? Oh, never mind. Uh-huh. So I had to interact with my son for a second. Huh? Look in my purse. Okay, then no. Anyway, so I think that what I didn't really know until just recently was how these different, how the different seven spirits of God, how they interact with our giftings. I didn't know that with the great gifts. That was something that was new to me. I actually read about it, and I was like, really? That makes sense to me. And then I started engaging about it and realized that this actually is how it works, and this does make sense. And so anyway, there are different parts. I don't know if you want to take a moment and look through it, but it's very helpful to see these different things. Like over here, the spirit of counsel prepares us for position. So it's helpful to see some of these things and go, oh, I get it. This is what I'm going through right now. So, or maybe you go, I do not understand this thing. Like, do you remember, Liz, this is why it came up. We were talking about how to exercise dominion on the earth.
Yes.
And I was like, she needs the Spirit of Might. And it doesn't mean that you're fearful when you need the Spirit of Might. Spirit of Might is also known as the Spirit of Courage. It doesn't mean that you're fearful. It just means that this is what the Spirit of Might teaches about. And so it's very helpful sometimes to have them teach you. And sometimes they teach you without you really knowing. And other times, literally, you'll interact with them in the heavenly places and you know what they're teaching you. But for me, more times than not, they're just ministering to me in my life, and I don't even consciously know it, but then I have understanding that comes out of nowhere, it seems like, So that's kind of what happens with me anyway. I love this one, Spirit of the Fear of the Lord. This makes so much sense to me. If you see, it teaches about how to understand the awe, wonder, holiness, majesty, and purity of God, the actual person of God, intimacy with Him, and worship. This makes so much sense to me because when I had that, I call it the dark cloud experience. And if you don't know, that sounds kind of crazy if you don't know what I'm talking about, but just like Moses went through the dark cloud, and the person of God was there teaching him on the mountain, and it was like thunder and lightning and scary stuff, right? This makes sense because when you go through that, it's this new fear of the Lord. And I mean, it's not I'm scared to death, although it is kind of scary. It's more of this like, wow, whoa, this awe, this I can't even, this is more than I think I can bear sort of thing. But what happens is through that, there's this purity that you go through, this refining, and then you get to interact with the actual person of the Father and have intimacy with Him. And so all of that just makes so much sense because when you're interacting with the Spirit of the Fear of the Lord, that's what brings you into that. And all of that is totally connected. And so I don't know if this all makes sense, but yeah, maybe I should stop talking now and see if anybody has anything to interact with. Questions, comments? No? Okay, I don't know if anyone is even interested in this.
Yeah.
Yes?
Oh, yeah.
No, I like it because I was going through this a few times when you posted it, and I was like, and I was starting to make sense to me, so it gave me more of an understanding, and so and I just really appreciate it because it just gave me a better understanding and things to meditate on instead of my own human wisdom or understanding.
I understand. I feel like sometimes just having it in a part like this is very helpful. Just having these spirits interacting with us, helping us understand things. I love the spirit of understanding. It says where and when to access the heavenly realms, how to use what we have, how to decipher revelation and visions, how to perceive, view, and teach and inform others about the different realms of the kingdom. That has been, I don't know, really key for me. because a lot of people I've noticed, they are going into the heavenly realms, but it's like they don't know when they can. They just kind of do it all the time, or think that there's no appropriate time or place to go. And there has to be some sort of understanding, because there is protocol in heaven, okay? There's a way of doing it that God has set it up to be. That doesn't mean that he's hard and fast with us. He has so much grace for us. But obviously, if we can be respectful of his ways and not just go on our own understanding that we have from our soul, but we have the spirit of understanding come on us, and we are functioning through our spirit instead of through the soul, which is the mind, will, and emotions. It's just, it goes better for us. It's easier for us to go to the right place and have a really powerful experience with him, instead of just going from here to there and then going, well, hope that worked. We don't want things to just work. We want things to be glorifying to God. We want it to be his way, not our own way that we're coming up with. And so I think it's important to do that. Even the spirit of understanding, I feel like this has just really helped me. I have a lot of stuff that it hasn't been normal for me in my walk to, say, interpret dreams or to understand visions or anything like that. I have gotten lots of visions, but I haven't always understood them. And I haven't always understood dreams. People used to tell me a dream and be like, yeah, don't ask me. I don't know. And now it's just obvious to me. In fact, it's almost too obvious, and I question myself because it's so obvious. I'm like, wait, that can't be right, because that's just too obvious. And this can only come from outside of me. This is only because of what God is doing. And so it is obvious that spirit of understanding is with me a lot, to know where to go in the heavenly realms, when to do it, how to function there, about the different realms, because I can't explain how I know a lot of things about all this, except for it's just from God, and it's from the seven spirits interacting with me. And I know there's a reason why God gave me this menorah. It's not just as a tool for everyone else, but I understand now that all the seven spirits are with me all the time. And so at any moment, I can just trust that it's with me. It's inside. I mean, I don't know if that makes sense, but the kingdom of heaven's always inside of us, right? We know that. But to know that the seven spirits are always with me, it's helpful, because all of this we have access to. We don't have to go, well, maybe can I have this one? I mean, if you want access to all the seven spirits of God, just ask him. I mean, God is so excited to give you anything you ask for. I mean, we have the full inheritance, including his love, his wisdom, his understanding, all of this. So anytime we need any of it, we can go and ask. And so if you feel led like there's something that you just really want, I like this. Spirit of wisdom produces delight towards God. Maybe you're just like, God, I want to take delight in you more. I want to just be delighted in your presence. Then just ask for the spirit of wisdom to come on you. And it'll place that as part of you. And so anyway, I don't know if that's helpful to anyone, but this has been so helpful to me in my walk, is just always knowing But at any time, I have full access to the seven spirits to bring me closer to God. Anyway. Okay, I kept talking again, and I wasn't going to. Sorry about that. I'm sorry. Well, it's only 6:30. We are half an hour in, and I've already gotten through everything I was going to talk about. Does anyone have any questions that has to do with anything other than the seven spirits? If you don't have any questions about the seven spirits. Sure.
I mean, as you mentioned before, I see them as mostly swirling things. I don't see them as a being or a real shape per se. How do you see them?
I see them as colors, not always swirling colors, but colors that move. And I also see them in fire, like I was telling you, like on the menorah.
Oh, okay.
So I see them in fire, and I see them in the colors, especially here. I see them in the colors a lot. So I see them in the spirit realm here a lot of times. That, for some reason, is easy for me to see in the spirit here. I've told you. It's easier for me to see in the spirit here than it is in the heavenly realms. And so even though I do see in the heavenly realms, it's a different kind of seeing than I see here. And so I oftentimes am interacting with them in the heavenly places without always seeing them. I never have seen them as a being. You know, I might call them a being, but I don't see them like that.
I think I've heard somebody say that, but I personally have not seen that.
Hey, Liz, how about you?
You know, like, well, the spirit of wisdom is referred to as she.
Well, that's a different. The
And
spirit of wisdom is not the same thing as lady wisdom, actually.
okay, two different. Okay, that's what I thought, because I was thinking, because I've seen her, but this is the thing. The one thing I was thinking about is, you know, when I first started this, my big concern was, you know, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. And I was like, almost asking permission, saying, can I interact with these? And can I, you know, whatever, which is fine. But, you know, and I'm very thankful for these documents, because you can go and refer to them and understanding, and then it opens up in your spirit. And the other thing you were saying about protocol and things, I think needs to be such a teaching on the difference between spirit and soul, because I know personally there are times in my spirit the Lord is telling me, tell that person just to go up. They're afraid, and when you begin, there's a special grace.
Right.
And then you're supposed to grow in wisdom and opening your understanding and things like that. So, but I'm glad you addressed that and brought that up, that there is a protocol, there is an honor, there is a respect. And I think that is so important to do that. But because now I have a better understanding of things. And right now my spirit is getting activated, where I'm about ready just to scream, going, oh, hallelujah, thank you, Jesus. This week, well, the last couple of weeks, my understanding and my just wisdom just has opened up to, and I can definitely say to a next level, which, you know, I'm just like, Lord, this is amazing. This is, you know, it's like a little kid with a new toy. I'm like, wow, that's amazing. So, but I'm very thankful, because, but these documents are very helpful to understand, you know, so I'm very thankful for them. Did that answer your question?
Yes.
Or your thing?
So.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. Did I answer your question right?
Yeah. Did you have other people on there? I was curious.
I have Robert. Robert, are you there?
Yes.
Okay. I just see your hotel room.
I'm sorry. I can't hear very well except on my phone, so I have to turn it so that I can hear. If I do it the other way, I don't hear everything.
Oh, okay. Sorry about that.
Yeah, I think it's my phone too. I don't think it's just your equipment. So
Okay, because I think we have the equipment up and
it
working.
sounds a lot louder than it did Sunday, put it that way.
Yeah. Well, Robert needs a new phone. Lord, Robert needs a new
Yeah.
phone in Jesus' name. Send your angels forth. Bring it forth. Hallelujah. Thank you, Jesus. Glory to God. I'm activated.
I'd be
Sorry.
laying hands on that phone. Ask Linda.
Yeah, she'll do it too. Done it twice tomorrow.
I do this
Uh,
time. The phones that aren't working, I just lay hands on them and I ask the angels to come and help me. And every time they start working right, I can't even explain it.
Robert, you can do it too.
Yes, sir. Do it. Anyway, so Robert, have you interacted with the seven spirits of God before?
well, the concept of what he has here is a little new to me, especially with the colors. I'm not really I have some ability to see, but I'm more just real clear just hearing his voice, so the concepts of the colors is something new to me. I've heard of the different spirits, but I heard from a different teacher that taught on the seven spirits of God, and it was different. But for me, it's a little bit a new thing. So I'm just kind of sitting back learning. Really, not. I knew that some of these things operate. Some of them I've never heard of, but then some of them I have. But so I'm just sitting back learning. And just asking God, make it clear to me. Are there some areas maybe I have interacted, maybe some areas I haven't, and so I'm just sitting back learning.
Well, yeah, be encouraged. You probably have interacted with them without knowing.
Yeah, and
it happens.
sometimes, yeah, that's what I'm thinking, but I'm just like, God, make it clear to me, because I'm not sure exactly what I've interacted, so I'm not trying to presume that I know. I just want to sit back and learn.
Yeah, sure. Well, and I want to reiterate this just because, well, you haven't been with us that long. So I just got to tell you that everything that I share is my personal experience. I don't want anyone to take my word for anything. And so if you would just seek God, test everything, I am very happy if you agree or disagree. Okay, so we're all very powerful. God has given us power, love, and a sound mind, and I believe that we can be powerful to disagree. And so just in case there comes a point where you're like, I don't buy that, test it every time. And so I just wanted to put that out there so no one thinks like, hey, I'm saying I know everything, and if you don't agree with me, get out. I'm not that kind of person. And so, yeah.
Yeah, I was telling, I've talked to Liz several times, but I come from a very, it was spirit filled, and God has moved very powerfully. But I also have a lot of conservative background. So there's a lot that I'm letting go of and I'm learning about. But at the same time, there are some areas that I'm very comfortable with. So there there is I call it a transfer. From one to the other. But I'm learning.
No, I'm with it. That's where I started. Most people who are engaging in heaven, it seems like most people that I run across have come directly from, I don't know, a lot of charismatic or Pentecostal kind of background. And I would say I've been a closet charismatic for a long time, but I came from a lot more conservative background. And so I get it, because I think there's benefits to both, because
Right.
when you're more comfortable with the out there crazy stuff, it's sometimes easier to grab a hold of. On the other hand, if you have real and genuine interaction with God in any way, your spirit just knows, the truth. And so when you hear something that's hard, if you know to trust your spirit more than you trust your soul, which is, your mind, will, and emotions, if you know to trust the spirit inside of you, then it's easier. And so thankfully, I mean, it sounds like I'm kind of similar to you. We've had a strong relationship with the Lord for a long time. And so it's easier to recognize truth. And if we have a question about it, to just pursue God about it instead of, taking someone's word, I guess.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Well, okay. So anybody else have any questions? Nope. Okay. Well,
I have one question.
okay, sure.
You basically, as you were explaining it, you were saying that some things made a lot of sense, and it sounds like a lot of it makes a lot of sense, and as you interact and stuff. But I mean, did it happen over a short period of time, or is this years of interaction? As God has made you more, I guess comfortable, not even really comfortable, but just aware of what you're experiencing and what there's several things there that even just interacting in the courts of heaven, I've realized that there are so many areas that at first I'd be like, what? I'm not familiar with that, but as I have been before the Lord, He's confirmed it. So I just didn't know if it took a lot of time or it was a short amount of time or what.
Well, I'll give you my own experience. So testimony time. I think I've had a pretty strange experience compared to a lot of people. But here's kind of how my life has been. For many years, I mean, I guess it's been since probably 95 or something, when I first started really growing in the Lord and growing in relationship with God, okay? So I became a Christian a few years before that. I didn't grow up in a Christian home, so I didn't grow up in the church, which was actually quite a blessing for me. It also was difficult because I received a lot of persecution, but it was a blessing for me because a lot of people around me who did grow up in the church, they just did church and they didn't have a strong relationship with God. They didn't appreciate being at church. There was a lot that I didn't have to deal with in that way that a lot of people go through. So for me, I grew really quickly in the faith as a young Christian teenager. I dove in. And so pretty soon, like maybe within a year, I was experiencing a lot of signs and wonders and stuff like that, deep intimacy with God. And I just wanted to be with Him all the time and study the Bible all the time. So I would have, like 2 specific times a day that I would do Bible study and stuff and have what most people would call a quiet time. And so I dove into that. And then it was still when I was in high school that I started having heavenly experiences, but I did not know it. Okay, I didn't understand that what I was experiencing was heavenly experiences. I was, dancing with Jesus as I was worshiping, stuff like this, where I had a real genuine experience, but I didn't understand really what was happening until much later, like in this past year and a half, where I have seen the dance floor on heaven and been like, this is where I was. Like, oh my goodness, I've been experiencing this since, 20 years or however long, right? And the same thing, I've had lots of experiences, actually some that were mind-blowing experiences I never told anybody about because they just seemed too weird and out there. Nothing like the church ever taught. And so I never mentioned it to anybody. And I built intimacy with God, number one. So when I was a teen, I committed to purity and to just having God as my husband. Like, Jesus is my husband. That is what I wanted. And I wanted to stay pure until I was married. And so for a long time, I was focused on intimacy with God. Now I understand what that did for my for my experience in the heavenly realms later, is that catapulted me into authority. It also, because everything goes back to intimacy.
Right.
And so anyway, it's only been in the last year and a half that I have been mindfully engaging in heaven. And that kind of, for me, came out of nowhere. I met with a lady who I was very prophetic and all that, and finally started flowing in a place where that was accepted. And there was a lady in town who knew she was supposed to meet with my sister and I. So we met with her, and she had all these prophecies that she knew she was supposed to share with us from different people. And when she did, it just confirmed everything that God had been speaking to us. And immediately, because I was still what I call in the Moses generation, this means like I always wanted someone to lead me, okay, besides God. Because I was still like that, I'm like, oh my goodness, this lady, she needs to be my mentor. And I was so excited about this lady. And she would say stuff about this bench or courts of heaven. And I finally said, what are you talking about when you're saying courts of heaven? And she said, just go look up Ian Clayton Courts of Heaven on YouTube. So because I thought that this lady was brilliant and should teach me, because I'd been looking for a mentor my whole life, I was like, I'm going to do whatever she says. So I went and looked up Ian Clayton Courts of Heaven. And I was, first of all, mind blown. Second of all, I was like, is this guy a heretic? You know, should I be listening to this? But inside my spirit was leaping. And so I'd only listened to one half of a session of what he was teaching when I was literally brought into heaven. And so I did not intentionally do it. He had talked about how in this first part of the session, I fell asleep. I went to bed and then fell back asleep, of course, was woken up in the middle of the night by my daughter, and immediately, without thinking about it, I went to lay hands on her like normal, and I just started engaging in heaven and was taken to the storehouse. And so that was my first, like, holy crap, I was just taken to heaven moment. Okay. And then after that, I started having way different kind of signs and wonders than I'd ever experienced in my life. That week was holy crap after holy crap after holy crap. And it was, oh my goodness, what's happening? You know, and I texted the lady who told me about the courts of heaven. I was like, what does this mean? What's happening? And she just goes, oh, I don't know. I haven't even listened to that yet. And I was like, what? And so anyway, long story short, very shortly after that, like maybe 2 weeks or something, I don't know how long, but a couple weeks after that, maybe a month after that, Mike Parsons came to my town, and we went to this small little conference. And basically, by that point, I'd already blabbed to everyone I knew about courts of heaven and stuff. And so a lot of people I knew came to this conference with me. We all were mind blown, except for I was like, getting confirmation after confirmation about what I'd gone through in my life. And so these experiences that I'd had, he just talked about them like it was no big deal. You know, he talked about, oh yeah, you can engage the timeline and be taken into the future and be taken into the past. And I'm like, that's happened to me. You know, now I kind of am like him, I think. But back then I was like, oh my goodness, I'm not crazy. And all these different things he talked about were just confirming stuff in me. And I ended up that same week going to his national conference and having probably the most spirit-filled time of my life, and it had nothing to do with the conference. It was just that I was so engaging in heaven constantly. I can't even explain. It was just amazing. And so after that, every moment I could, I would be engaging in heaven. I'm laying down to put the baby to sleep, I'm engaging. I'm on the toilet, I'm engaging. Like every time doing the dishes, I'm engaging in heaven. And at the same time, I was going through an immense amount of cleansing. So I would go into the mobile courts several times a day because God just kept bringing up more and more stuff, you know. And so after this, very shortly after that, maybe a month or something after that, I had a really wild experience in the heavenly places that, okay, I'll be very brief about it, but I had this experience where Jesus took me up into the, I don't know, seemed like above the atmosphere, and he told me to eat a galaxy, and then he told me to eat another galaxy. That sounds crazy. It was crazy at the time. In fact, I was like, oh my gosh, I can't tell anybody this. Now I don't care anymore. But at this time, I'm like, what does this mean? And then I sought God about it again, about what does this mean? And he showed me that when he did this, it filled me with his ways. And so this is what he told me. I just, okay, whatever that means. Well, ever since then, I cannot explain it, but I understand everything about how things work, especially in the heavenly realms. Like, there's not anything I don't understand. That doesn't mean that I have mindful experiences of it, but every time we're there, I know exactly what to do. I know, yes, we can do this. No, we can't do that. It's like all of his ways are inside of me, even though I didn't learn it. And so what he did, by the way, right before that, was he told me I had to quit listening to any other teachers, because I was like trying to devour all these different teachers, and he just said, don't do it anymore. And so I'm like, oh my goodness, okay. So I quit, and he just said he wanted to teach me. So I just, learned from God whatever he would teach me. And eventually what happened is he showed me that I didn't have an idol of man anymore like I did. So I told you I was in the Moses generation. No longer am I. I totally am like, you need Jesus as your mentor. You don't need me as your mentor. I mean, I'm happy to share everything I have with everyone just because God has told me to have these groups to do that. But we all need to be mentored by Jesus. We need to be spending time with God more than we're spending time with man learning. And so that's where I am, and this is why it's happened so quickly for me. But all of this stuff is inside of me, and it did happen really quickly, like probably within a couple months of engaging in heaven. All of this was released into me, and so I can't really explain that. It wasn't on purpose. It was just, I believe, for the benefit of the body of Christ, because I've noticed that everyone who's been coming along with me, if I didn't have this innate understanding when we were engaging, we would have no idea what to do. But God did that for everyone to grow. And so I believe he can do that with anyone. I'm nothing special. I'm just a tool. That sounded weird. I mean, I'm a tool used by God. A conduit. There you go. Conduit. Anyway, so that's my story, Robert. That was quite long, but that's how it's happened with me. And it might be unique, but it can happen really quickly with anybody. It just depends on, I believe, the most important thing is intimacy. So,
Well, that's the thing that gets me there is that I look at the sheet and I can't really get my mind around the thing. But when you're sharing what you're sharing, I can relate. You know, there are just times that the Spirit of God and Jesus just does stuff, and I go, okay, God, that's just not normal for me or anybody else I know. But you know, I've just 30 years of just walking with you, and I'm like, I'm just trusting you, God. I'm just trusting you. And as I've engaged in some things, I'm just like, okay, you know, but they're changing me, and it just seems to be lately there's more and more of that, you know. So this is really neat. So
that's good. I think that's the way. The more we engage with him, the more I mean, all of it's mind-blowing at first anyway. I mean, there were lots. The first time that he said, hey, you need to give this guy this orb and tell him to eat it. And I was like, I'm not doing that. And he's like, do it. And so I did. And this guy had been engaging for a long time. And I told him, he's like, oh yeah, well, that's pretty normal in heaven. I was like, okay. That's nothing I understand. And so anyway, now I realize, oh, this does kind of happen all the time where people eat things and it becomes part of them. And now I understand it. But at first, every single thing I experienced was like, that's weird, you know, just because I think it takes us a while to grasp the culture of heaven. When we haven't been mindfully engaging it, even though we have relationship with God and we trust him and we know his love and we know his voice, it's still hard because we don't really understand the culture of heaven. And this is something that I think is kind of interesting. I'm going to stop the share, by the way, on this page. There we go. Anyway, I think that one of the, I don't know, the things that, how do I say? We really, we haven't understood the culture of heaven as much as we like to think. And over the years, I've had a really hard time with the book of Revelation because I would always say, look, you're not going to know till you're in heaven. So quit talking about it, quit arguing about it, quit trying to speculate what it means. And now I understand the book of Revelation because I've been in heaven. And so what I was saying was accurate. I just thought heaven was for when we die because that's what the church taught. And I didn't really grasp I think it was the Lord opens our eyes at the right time. So I can't say it's just the church's fault. My eyes weren't open. But when he opened my eyes to this is for now, and I started engaging in heaven, and now I know the culture of heaven. When I look at the book of Revelation, I'm like, oh yeah, well, he was just observing things. It's not that it means one thing or another necessarily, but he sees a dragon, he's talking about a demon. I know that because I interact in the kingdom of God with all of this, and I know what that means. I know who they are. I know what the 7 spirits of God look like. I can see all these things, and I don't have to go, well, the trumpet blast, what's that really going to be? Is that going to be a jet? Are there going to be jets and that's what everyone knows? No, actually, it's in heaven. There are trumpets that blast that are literally shofars, and that's normal. That's normal heaven stuff. It's just I didn't know that stuff before because I wasn't engaging in heaven. And so, I don't know. I'm really excited about how when we engage in heaven like this, heaven becomes part of us, you know? And this is what the whole church is supposed to be like. It's not just for the weirdos and the wackos like us, you know? And like Linda, she says. Anyway. Oh, you have a comment? Okay. What is it?
I'm simply going to say that you know, a lot of times I personally, and I'm sure that a lot of people have too, I mean, I've read through the Bible several different times, and you get to a part that's just something that you just don't know what to do with. And so you read it, and you're like, okay, that's weird. And then you move on to the next verse. Just keep reading it as if it's a story. And yes, it's a story, but it's much, much more than that. If we were to actually focus on that weird stuff, embrace that weird stuff, then we would actually come into more and meditate on it like we're supposed to. We would actually come into more of an understanding of that, more of embracing that. I've just kind of made a little cliche out of it, just embrace the weirdness. But if you read your Bible, there's a lot of weird stuff in it.
Yeah.
We should just believe the Bible, believe what the Bible says.
Uh-huh.
So there you go.
You know, this is one reason that I am now comfortable with calling myself a Christian mystic. It's because a mystic is someone who embraces the mysterious and in the spirit realm. And I believe that the majority of the Bible is mysticism. It's like this huge mystery, this huge mysterious, what is this? It's a mysterious spirit something, right? And so even in the word, it uses that mysterion, you know, and that, I don't know, for some reason, I just connect to that. And a lot of people hate that name Christian mystic because it's like too out there. But I tell you, I am now embracing that I'm out there. And at first I had such a fear of man that I had a hard time even telling anyone that I did all this. Now I'm like, y'all, you guys got to do this. This is like, you experience God on a whole new level. You have to, it's so exciting. It's so wonderful. It's so loving. It brings us into who we're supposed to be. I mean, walking,
Praise God.
I know, it's just amazing. Anyway.
Yeah.
So.
Angel choir sing.
Hi, Trisha, by the way. She's trying to talk, I think. You're muted. Do you see that?
Here we go.
Hi.
Yeah, hi guys. I didn't get back home in time to get around to come, but I wanted to join, so.
Awesome.
Hi, Trisha.
Hello.
Air.
Eden. I have Eden sitting right next to me. You want to say hi?
Oh, hi, Eden.
Hi. Oh, and
Hey,
here's
girl.
Soren and Eden.
Hello.
Two of my little ones here.
Yay.
Don't annoy me. Hey. Please be good. Anyway. Soren, make good choices, please.
Can I have it, please?
Oh, anyway. So, any other questions? No? Okay. Well, Trisha, I know you missed a lot of it. We were talking about the seven spirits of God. You probably saw the chart for a while. Yes?
I did, yes.
Cool. I also shared a bunch of scriptures about it. I don't know if you are interested in that, but I am going to post them on the Engaging Heaven Facebook page. So
Okay.
I'll post this document again, and then I'll also post the scriptures that I referenced. That way, if you guys want to go back and look at it, if you guys don't care, that's fine too. But at least if you do, it'll be there. I think a lot of people, especially when they first start engaging in God, or if they're sharing with those who don't yet, or maybe are just beginning, they want lots of scripture references. And so I used to have no scripture references and was just going off of experience. But then God started showing me in the scriptures things that confirmed my experiences, and that's a beautiful thing. So I can't say that this all came from revelation from God, these scriptures, though. I did read something about the scripture in Isaiah, and that brought me into I want to study these scriptures. So anyway, hope that that's helpful. Yes.
Yes.
Okay, good. All right. Are you guys ready to engage in heaven? Actually,
Yes.
maybe not. Linda disappeared and I didn't even notice. Let's wait a second.
She's in the bathroom.
She's in the bathroom. Okay. Actually, this would be a good time if you guys want to grab some communion elements. If you are
I was
interested.
gonna.
Can I have some grape juice?
Are you going to take communion with us?
Maybe.
You can have grape juice if you take communion with us, but only take communion if you're going to focus on God. Yes?
Oh,
Do you want to focus on God?
yeah.
Okay. You can do it with us then, okay? Oopsie.
Where am I?
I don't know. Soren, do you want to take communion with us? Which is not. Okay. Linda, you ready for some communion and engaging? Yeah. Yes, she is, she said. Thank you, mate.
Why did you put it on the computer?
Yeah, he doesn't want to take communion today.
No worries.
What did you say?
Why do you put it on the computer?
I don't know. No, I'm not going for it yet. I'm going to wait for Trisha to get back because she was grabbing communion stuff.
I'm back.
Oh, hello.
Hello. Okay.
All right. Liz, are you ready?
Yes.
Okay, great. All right. Linda, would you mind leading us in communion today?
Sure.
Okay.
Jesus, we thank you. We love you. We want to focus our mind and our hearts on you right now. And we go through the veil by faith and we take your hand and just embrace you. We ask that you take us to the Father's house and go to the banqueting table. And we go there because we know you love us. Your banner over us is love. And we thank you and we praise you. Just love you, love you, love you. And so right now, we want to take in your body. The bread represents that, and your blood. What we're taking in is juice, and that represents your blood. And so when we take in your body and your blood, we are actually taking in your DNA, Jesus, and your DNA is like the Father's. And so that DNA changes us. And so we're more able to reflect the Father's glory. He glorified you, Jesus, to glorify himself. And we also will be glorified so that we can glorify the Father as well. So, thank you.
Jesus, thank you so much for your sacrifice for us and for taking our sin and being what replaces us so that we don't have to spend forever away from God, but that we can be with the Father. Thank you so much. We love you. We love you. And Jesus, if you would, we would just like to, for you to take us right before the altar of God, and we ask that you just become our high priest right now. And we'd like to lay ourselves out as a living sacrifice. And so we ask that you take that sword of the Spirit, the Word of God, the double-edged sword that's able to divide our soul and spirit, our bone and marrow. We ask that you just take it and make us a sacrifice. We know when things were sacrificed back in the Bible, it was gruesome. And it was a bloody mess, just like you had to endure on the cross. And so we embrace that, and we want to be laid out like the lamb was laid out. And so we ask that you just chop off our heads and you give us the mind of Christ. And you chop off our arms and let us give and receive like you would. We ask that you chop off our legs and let us go and do what you would do. Slice us right down the middle and reveal our inner parts. And just burn up anything that is not from God. We ask that you open up our heart and that you reveal just the impurities that are there and pluck them out of us, please. Jesus, thank you so much for loving us. And we ask right now that you just take and lay us on the altar, on the hot coals before God, and burn up anything in us that is that ungodly flesh, so that we can fully be spirit with you. And so right now, we would like to go before the Father, and right in front of the throne are the 7 spirits of God. They're all different colors. I see them in the flames. And right now, if what we're going to do is, this is going to be interactive. So if you see anything or experience anything that you feel comfortable sharing, just go ahead and share that if you see it. You too, Eden, okay? And if you see a certain color, you can share that color, and we'll show what that color represents, what Spirit of God. Well, I just saw the 7 spirits, all the different colors, the flames, and they just like rose up and kind of elongated and started twisting up in the air all together. And I just see the joy of the Father as he looks on us. Thank you, God.
For some reason, I'm seeing purple.
The purple is the spirit of the fear of the Lord. Shows us how to understand the awe, wonder, holiness, and majesty and purity of God. The actual person of God, intimacy with him. Thank you, Lord.
I see yellow.
Yellow is the spirit of understanding. It shows us where and when we can go to the different places in heaven. Thank you, Lord.
I'm done.
Okay.
I see that kind of yellow.
Yeah, that's what it is. If you
You said chop us, chop legs and head.
because the Bible says to lay yourself out as a living sacrifice. So we're still alive. This is only in the heavenlies where he's chopping himself and saying it's before God, but we still have our spirits. And so this isn't a sad thing. It's okay. I've just been seeing the spirit of counsel, and I've been wondering, Liz, you've been talking about the court of counsel and a counselor. I don't know if it's the same thing, but I have been seeking if this has to do with the spirit of counsel. And so it's interesting that I keep seeing this green, the spirit of counsel. It says how to access the counsel of God, resolve issues, commune with God, about the functions and the council chambers of God, his advisors, the Trinity and their role in our life, how to rule in the process of rule. Is there anything else that you guys are seeing? Or experiencing, I should say.
I'm not seeing it, but red.
Say that again.
I'm getting red. I can't see it, but
Feel it. Okay, so red is the spirit of the Lord, and it teaches about positional dominion and how to exercise it on earth, power, sonship, rulership, translation, transrelocation, and God's glory, bringing divine order and divine justice out of heaven and how to exert it on the earth.
ooh, 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 ooh. Cool. Yeah.
I'm seeing green.
Green, that spirit of counsel again. That's cool. Well, I felt led to take that menorah and light each of you on fire. And so the seven spirits of God are going to come over you and start ministering to you. And right now, just go wherever you feel led. I kind of get the feeling that I'm supposed to go by some sort of body of water. I don't know if that's for everyone or not. So if you feel led to go to your mountain or elsewhere, just do what you feel led to do. Hey, Liz, I saw something over your mountain and it sounds a little weird, but I just want to encourage you about it. But I went and I saw snow again. And I don't know if that's still happening when you are visiting, but I saw snow again on your mountain. And then I saw this big polar bear. And I was really seeking God about it. And he showed me that it was himself, that he was there protecting you on your mountain and showing himself as a polar bear. And so, oh, somebody's music's gonna. Anyway, I hope that that's encouraging to you. It wasn't a huge revelation or anything, but I loved that picture actually.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Robert,
Mm-hmm.
I saw that. I think I may have seen this for you last time. I'm not quite sure, but I saw that there's this book that you have open that you're like studying or reading, and so I wonder if I was thinking about that. One of these has to the spirit of knowledge has to do with how to access the library rooms of heaven, how to retain knowledge and process information. And so I don't know if the spirit of knowledge is with you, but you for sure are learning a lot in heaven right now.
Okay. I definitely feel like I'm learning a lot. Something I was experiencing just a moment. I don't know really how to place this or what, but as I felt like it was before the throne, and in the presence of the Father, and suddenly I was aware of just close intimacy with the Father, and I became aware of his breathing, as if I was close to his chest, and I could hear his breathing, and it just was soothing, and just such, I don't know, it was just like where I wanted to be, and as I did that, there's a strange like transfer of his breathing from where his lungs were to my lungs, and then there was just a transfer of his breath, like the breath of God was being transferred from, I just sense that, I don't really understand it totally, but
I get that.
That's what I was sensing.
That happens to me honestly, this is a kind of what happens to me every single day. My favorite place to be is with the Father, and I just am kind of leaning on his chest. And
that's exactly what I was experiencing. Yeah. Go ahead.
And that breath of God it almost for me it just feels like he's filling me and I'm coming in sync with him, kind of. And
that's exactly what I was.
Yeah. I interact with him like this all the time. That's just my favorite place to be in the whole world, I guess, more than this world. But I always go there for comfort. I go there for peace. I go there just because I love him. And I don't usually go there for understanding, really. I just intimacy, I guess, and rest. But yeah, that's good.
It's good.
Thank you, Lord. Tricia, I saw you having fun again, just kind of enjoying yourself. And I think that when you're engaging in heaven, there's just a lightness that you maybe don't receive on earth, but something that you're able to experience here. Anyway, it was a pleasure to just look on you and how you feel in the heavenly places.
I love it.
What?
I love it.
Oh, okay. Linda, I saw that you were sitting at the feet of this big angel and taking notes. So I know that sounds strange. I've never seen anyone take notes, but I felt like you were in this place of learning and experiencing that's really good. And so anyway, I don't know if that resonates with you or not, but he was big and actually a little bit like what people depict angels to look like generally here, which isn't usually how I see angels, but like with wings and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like he was not huge, but bigger than you were. And yeah, I don't know if that means anything to you, but basically like with wings and white, not his whole body, but just white wings and dressed in white, that sort of thing.
That's cool.
Yeah.
What do I look
I don't know. Hold on. Let me focus. I don't always see all that. Hmm. You're dressed in blue, not your favorite color of blue, I'm afraid, but like the kind of two different colors of blue, like a medium blue and a light blue. And I don't know, I can't see much more than that. I don't know. You should ask Liz to look at you. She's the greatest seer.
Okay, Liz, look away, please.
I can't hear you. What?
Look at me.
Linda asked you to look at her and tell her what she looks like, because I don't really see too much, except for I saw the color of this dress she was wearing.
The only thing, well, let me just tell you this. For some reason, Christy, your mountain is being decorated, and it's like, anyway, it's being decorated. And then with Linda, this is what I keep seeing. It's like I just see you and Jesus, just like, so that's all I been able to see. What I'm seeing is your bones are coming back to life. Okay. I'm seeing, in what was it, Ezekiel? He spoke to the dead but dry bones. So what I'm seeing is your skeleton. Oh, isn't this just lovely? I'm seeing your skeleton, and it's dead and it's dry, but then it's coming back to life, and the deadness is going, and there's new life coming into your bones, and then the sinew coming on those live bones, and blood flowing, and and then it's like God is rebuilding your body from dead, dry bones to you know what? What was like the best time in your life? In your 20s? Because I'm kind of seeing a picture of you when you're in your 20s.
That's how I always see you too.
Really?
Yeah, I'm just seeing a picture of, you're like a 20-year-old.
Young, yeah.
Did you have the flip hair?
I did.
Okay, that's what I'm seeing. Huh?
Farrah Fawcett hair at my wedding.
Okay, yeah, because I'm kind of seeing that, and yeah, so that's what I'm seeing. But I'm seeing like the deadness in your bones go, and it's less like layer upon layer of life, of new life. But then I see, boy, I see with the pearl. Now this is going, it's flip flopping again. I'm seeing a pearl necklace, and then a necklace with a blue stone. It's like interchangeable. So I kind of see, and this is a, wow. This is the pearls are real, and they're these are the real deal. These are the expensive pearls. These are I like, oh my God, I love pearls. But anyway, but these are the not so much. Oh man, wait, I'm getting excited because these are just gorgeous. These pearls are gorgeous. They're not the white. They're have like a bone color. And I'm just getting the impression that these pearls are so expensive. I mean, and they're not the round pearls. They're like, boy, I've never seen these. I've seen these. I've seen them once. I was playing in the internet, and I was just looking up pearls. These are like the most expensive pearls you could ever own, or wear. And the luster on them, but they're not the white. They come. The story behind them is just amazing. but these are like the deep ocean, and you have to go through all kinds of stuff to get these pearls. So I'm just going to say, you have these pearls, feel extremely honored. And that's the picture I keep getting, is the dead, dry bones that are coming to life and things like that. And now I see you dancing. I see you dancing. Did you ever own a pair of blue shoes, blue heels?
Not sure.
Okay. Because I keep seeing you're dancing. Your feet are dancing. Are you Irish by any chance?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, because that's what you're doing, is because it's an Irish dance. That it's not, Well, anyway, and you're dancing with these blue shoes on, and these blue shoes are there's the style on these shoes. Let me see. Their heels. I love shoes. Man, these are, I can't even, I wish I could draw pictures for you. Somebody else got to give you. These are amazing shoes. I mean, I love shoes. I can't, I ruined my back from you wearing heels, and all the crazy shoes. So I always can wear flat. But these shoes are like fitted. And I mean, the style. If I ever find a picture of these blue shoes, then I'll send it to you. But these are me, and you're dancing like the Irish jig, and it's really neat. So anyway, so you got a blue dress, blue shoes, new bones, new skin, and you are 20. How about that?
Girl, I love that.
How about that? But this pearl necklace, and there's also a blue necklace with the blue stone. I don't think amethyst is blue, but the thing is, if I find a picture of the pearl necklace, I'll send that to you too. So if I ever find the blue shoes or the pearl necklace, I'll send those to you.
Oh, thank you, Liz.
And then Christine, I just see your mountain being decorated, and I have a tendency to be on the Victorian side. I used to make floral arrangements for people, and I used to just stuff it. I mean, this was like mine were stuffed. I mean, because when we're doing a flower arrangement, you're supposed to have space. There was no space. I didn't like space. I just loved stuffed. Everything was stuffed, just like the old Victorian. But see, the way it's being decorated, it's space, and I know it's like the more modern, and but on top it has a huge star and an angel. They interchange, so it's kind of neat. It's pretty. Not my personal style, but it's pretty. It's nice to look at. It's pleasant.
Did you hear me?
So
Liz, can you hear me?
barely.
I was just curious as to what kind of flowers are on her mountain.
What, Christine's?
Uh-huh.
Okay, well, what I'm saying, these are like Christmas decorations. It's like, it's not a traditional Christmas decoration. It's a very unique, and it's just constantly changing. It's just interchangeable and things like that. So,
That's funny.
and then when Robert was saying, what was the one, the spirit of the Lord, where it's holy and things like that, I was like, oh my God, that so fits you, And I'm trying to see something for Trisha. Just give me a second. Trisha is so dearly loved. You just kind of want to touch her and say, or have her touch you and go, rub some of that love on me. Just rub some of that love on me. It's like, she's just a love machine, like just the love of God, that gold. I keep seeing gold a lot, and but it was just that pure love that's in her. And it's like, come touch me so I can feel that love. She's just, just like, here, just pour it out. But I'm seeing like gold. And the picture I'm seeing her, it's like there's an angel right on top of her. It cracks me up, but I know it's the light. But no, I'm just seeing, it's just, she's like, she's just, the people that attract her are like, give me some love. And she's like, just, there it is, just pouring it out. It just flows out of her. So that's what I'm seeing. But Robert, that pure and that holiness, and because you pure your heart and you will see God, and that's just so it just, it's just amazing. And God is smiling on you.
Thank you.
So
Cool. Thanks, Liz.
wait, let me go back to Christine. Okay, it's getting a clear picture. Christine, what's on your mind? It's like a Christmas tree lot. Where people go to purchase Christmas trees. That's what I'm like, because I just got part of it. Now it's kind of like, people are going to go there to get their, just whatever, and it's like, and it just kind of fits. It was like, because Christine, you're a giver, right? You give people herbs and stuff. And so it's like a Christmas tree lot, but it's not really Christmas tree, but it's like the outside is like a Christmas tree lot. And then on top, there's a star. And when it switches from a star to an angel, but it's more like a Christmas tree lot, but no Christmas trees. It's just there's stuff in there for God to give you out. There's just different things. So that's what that is. So oh, and Linda, I this just something that came up. Purging you've been going through, I am ever so hopeful it's ended. So do you feel like a completedness with the purging?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, yeah, because there's just some minor things the Lord just wants to show you, but because we all know it's like when the Lord starts dealing with a new level of purging, or a new level of getting rid of stuff, that we're going to a higher level, but he has to get us more and more like him, and it doesn't matter who you are. It's like always a continual process. And so it's just, but I'm glad it's finally completed. I just see just a couple minor things, but I'm just glad that's finally the major thing. And so you can go to a higher level, or a new level in him, to be able to do what he wants you to do, and to fulfill his purpose.
I appreciate that so much.
Somebody left. Trisha left. Where'd she go?
I don't know. Maybe she got booted, or maybe she just had to scoot. I didn't know.
I thought I gave her something nice.
I doubt she left because of you.
Okay. Well, do you think that was accurate for her? I don't know her.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I love her.
He is. Well, you guys, let's finish up. I love you guys, and I'll post some of that on the Facebook page if you are interested, for the scriptures and the chart, and
Yes.
also the grace gift stuff and all of that. So, sound good?
Yep.
Post that on something more fun too.
Okay. All right, y'all. Well, I love you, and if you need anything, give me a buzz. Okay.
All right, sweetie. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Liz.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, Robert. Bye, Liz.
Bye-bye.